hearing was scheduled.
August, yes.
Well, for December. December, I think.
Do we have it?
I hadn't read Laura's email yet.
Looking for an old picture, show me?
Yeah, I know. Well, you're not there bothering to go since he's here.
Let's figure that out.
I met him at. I know him.
There's somebody in the
Camera's on, folks. Everybody hear it? Camera is
Oh, you're on camera. What a good looking guy you were. Not that you're
always
bad.
has great hair.
Comfortable shoes.
I got it, okay.
They
All
need
right.
to be understanding it's.
That's helpful to know that.
I could just play it. You would slide. Not that you're bad now, don't you?
Love it.
I always had gray hair. My beard was always
You
black.
look like a movie star, I swear to God.
I would never pick him out of a crowd.
Something about that.
Great picture, John.
Well, that's nice to have her.
But, 19,
Oy, oy.
was Reagan.
Did they buy it?
Anyway,
Okay.
that's when they.
Not a building I'd wanna be
When I had to
in.
give him
Did everyone
Nancy
sign?
Our home.
Yeah.
Our home.
Wow.
Need a whole lot of-
Okay.
Copy of that on this committee?
I will copy you on the email.
How do you feel about that?
I heard, no, it's funny, I was. Big money. Therapy. I saw the Sloan's ice cream truck over.
No, I've been away for a week. I
Very
just got
colorful.
back. Damn cold.
I read the article that there was.
So I had a chance to talk to Mark about our meeting.
Of course, I'm sorry. Do you have the, agenda also?
Yeah, I know, not mine either, but he hadn't been around. so.
I know, but I do want to see.
I don't like that.
Be like the Walt Thomas Building.
I think.
We want to.
Yeah.
Meeting just with the officers, the entire ops committee. That's what I was
Tony,
thinking.
we need Tony for the
Right.
She here? She's here?
This is fighting.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's the reason the Navy
She's
had
tied up with
I went to an interesting party on Saturday. One of my friends'
All
grandsons.
right, folks, why don't we,
I got it.
Everybody look over the minutes here.
the operations committee meeting, please come to order. Looks like we have some more things to count.
That man behind you.
You got two of the same.
Please be looking over, the minutes. And relatively short. Did we hear from, Sandy?
Yes. Doctor's appointment.
Oh, she's not here.
Ditto Stewart?
Haven't heard.
Had to take Phillips. Alright. Are there any corrections, to the minutes?
Not a correction, but a question on updates. Movies in room C, I thought that was a washout, because nobody
What are you
liked
talking about?
movies in
Under
room C. Are
Right,
they,
it's, we were talking about moving them to Wednesday in the theater.
yeah, but here,
It says in room C.
It says.
No, it says movies, the topic, the line item was movies in room C. The response or there will be a Wednesday matinee scheduled for any movie that cannot be shown at regularly scheduled.
in the theater,
Yes, in the theater.
yeah, it doesn't, yeah, it was a little confusing, but okay, in the theater.
So there'll be no more movies in room C.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. Okay.
For those who have just arrived, be aware that the video is running. And this meeting will end up on the World Wide Web in due course of time. All right, good to see you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Everything.
Any further corrections to the minutes? Okay, seeing none. Minutes will be accepted as written, as corrected if necessary. John, we'll call that out.
Could be a clarification.
Huh?
Could be a clarification.
Pull the chair up. Clarify.
Yes.
All right, where does that bring us? That brings us
That's Tony.
to.
It's not, no, that's
Come
Tony.
on, folks, come on. Concentrate. We got 2 long hours ahead of us. Why?
Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
This morning, we're looking at your statement of operations for WPRF for the 11 months ended September 30th, 2018. For the month of September, we had $397,000 in revenue. We spent $332,000, so we have a profit for the month of $64,000. For the 11 months, our total revenue is $4.7 million. We spent $4.4 million, so we have a profit of $239,000. For that period, we had actually budgeted a loss of $106,000, so overall, we have a positive variance of $346,000. The largest variance, you'll see here is the summary of maintenance and repairs. That's a compilation of a lot of different accounts. The largest items that we are under budget as of September would be our air conditioning maintenance for about $106,000, our general maintenance about $52,000, and the tennis and pickleball courts are about $64,000. The pickleball courts are underway, but as of September 30th, we certainly haven't spent that money. So before we close the year in at October 30th, you'll see that variance become smaller. Below that is your social activity summary. The theater income for September was $5,700. For your theater dance movies, we spent $8,400, so we have a loss of $2,700 for September. For the 11 months, income for your theater and dances was $324,000. We spent $349,000 for a loss of $25,000. We had actually budgeted a loss of $51,000, so that's a positive variance of $25,000. At the very bottom of this page, shows you the difference between the accrual basis and the cash basis of accounting. For the 11 months, it's telling us that we've actually collected $359,000 in recreation income above what we had budgeted, and that's people paying in advance primarily, prepaid, or us catching up on some of those old units that have been sitting out there, and we're finally collecting on those. Any questions? Your next schedule is your cash summary. September 30th, our total operating funds were $989,000. That's just shy of a $100,000 increase from the prior month. Our windstorm infrastructure and improvements reserve funds total $1,566,000. So our total available cash is $2.6 million. You'll note at the bottom that our aggregate windstorm deductible funds is $821,000, and our contingency and infrastructure reserve, which continues to increase every single month, is $746,000, and that'll be going up with a new budget year. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Next report is your Estoppel income report. And this is through October 31st. There were exactly 600 units sold in this community. We collected a total of $90,000 in Estoppel income. This is actually a 7% decrease over the prior year. I'm put some notes on here so you can see at the bottom what the sales have been in recent years. We were increasing year over year until fiscal year ended 2017, when we had a slight decrease of 4%, and then this year it jumped to 7%. So in recent years, the highest year for the number of units sold was the year ended October 2016 with 678 units. Your next report is your social activity summary. This is also for the month of October, where we had 1,093 folks attending your theater performances for $6,000 in sales. After we deduct vending cost and sales tax, that comes down to net sales of $5,400. We paid the performers $38,000, so we have a profit of $1,600. Your dances, that was your theme dance, your Halloween dance. 927 people attended the dance. We collected $2,400. We paid the performer $1,400, so we had a profit of $821. And then, of course, your movies, 1,213 people attending the movies, we paid $1,600. So your net profit for your theater, dances, and movies for October was $829. At the bottom is a summary that Barbara had asked for before of where we are, and this concludes the fiscal year. These notes are only for theater performances, and you'll see that we were able to post a profit of $3,000 for the entire fiscal year for the theater. See, Barbara's not here today.
It's not a group.
Oh, good for her. Okay, very good. Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to Eva.
Hi, morning.
Morning.
Updates.
Updates, okay, party room dances, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, it was one of the items on the list of things to get done, and that was the resurfacing of the party room. Also, the recommendation of WPRF was to potentially expand the size because of how crowded it gets. We are one of the busiest villages when it comes to the dances. We have the smallest dance floor and party room, but we have the most active dances on Saturday night. I just wanted to report that since Halloween, the Halloween dance, we had someone who fell and broke their wrist, and I had someone who fell 2 weeks ago and broke their wrist. That's 2 broken wrists in 1 month. The surface is off the floor and you catch on it. So I just want you to be aware, because I'm gonna be bringing this up again next budget year, and I think it deserves attention. And hopefully this will be just but we won't have more of this.
Is this a problem inherent to the dance floor surface?
Well, it has to have a finish on it to help them slide, their feet slide.
Or else you catch?
Yeah,
They have to be refinished.
it does.
What are we talking about here in
It was
money?
not cheap. Yeah.
They have to be resanded and refinished every so many years. If not, they get what they call, from, nothing against women, but women's shoes tend to, when it scuffs it up, but you can't see it, but the floor sees it.
Is it a real wood or is it
It's a real wood.
imitation?
No, it's real wood.
No, it's parquet.
Parquet.
Okay.
It's not, it's like a,
Yeah, that's parquet.
yeah.
That's real wood, not a laminate.
Cause I.
No, we had the laminate, remember, we had the
I
laminate.
guess what I'm saying is you don't want people falling and breaking bones for a few $1,000s, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
Oh, I think it was like 30,000? It was in the neighborhood, and I could be wrong.
I don't know, I honestly
Maybe
can't
you
tell, I
could
can't
come
say
up with
that.
some figures before. Well, now we're on notice, so before we have a lawsuit. Right?
It's not cheap, but it's definitely.
Definitely something we need to
A fancy one.
for sure.
Go ahead.
You make the money, you got it.
Go ahead.
I can go ahead, I'm just looking to see if I can find it. All right. I'm sorry, John.
If you're gonna refinish it, why don't we expand it at the same time? That way you kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Bigger.
Well, yes, when I tell you that it gets, we're talking elbow to elbow, and then people are starting, then you also get people elbowing other people, it's starting to get a little bit fractious. But again, we have the smallest party room, the smallest dance floor, but talking to the other administrators, we have some of the biggest attendance. And people aren't gonna look at the dance floor and say, oh, it's too crowded, I'm not gonna get on, they push their way in, and everyone's struggling to do what they do. So we've got the fast modern type dancing, we've got line dancing, we've got ballroom dancing, and it's really become a problem. One of the other things I wanted to do was to put a line down the middle and designate half the floor for line dancing and modern dancing and the other for ballroom. I don't know how well it would work, but people are begging me to do something to bring some kind of order to this
It's packed.
free-for-all that's,
You're not gonna
that's
do
the
it.
dance, the Saturday night dance, it's
Well,
packed.
this just expanded a little bit, so maybe you guys gotta put something together.
Okay, budget was
Is it possible that we can come up with the money now? Because it sounds like a very dangerous situation.
You know,
Is there any room?
No, it isn't, it's people themselves. That's the people themselves doing this.
Well, they gotta come up with a plan now.
Yeah, but if people are getting hurt, we have to do
What
something.
kind of shoes, it all depends on what it
That
is.
doesn't matter if people are getting hurt.
We've just expanded to expanding the size of this thing, and that takes on additional dimensions.
Yeah.
So let's let WPRF come up with a plan, and then we'll see what the numbers look like. Yes, Marcia?
I'd like to go back to the fact that we wanted to change the dance to a different day
Oh,
and the petition. I'd like to know who vetted that petition.
I haven't seen this petition.
Well, Eva said they brought her a petition that it shouldn't change the day, and I'd like to know who in her office vetted that petition.
I don't believe we've seen it, Marcia.
That's why the day was not changed, but we voted to change the day from Saturday, remember?
You know anything about this petition? I never heard of this petition.
yes, there was a petition.
It was.
There was a petition. I would have provided a copy to the, I believe I provided a copy. I would, I think I would have handed it off to you.
It was here.
Scanned
It was-
in.
Yeah,
She brought it here.
How long ago?
Oh, that was last
couple
year.
months.
So-
Oh.
No, a couple months.
It
Months this
wasn't
year.
that long ago, but anyway, maybe, but I don't think.
I thought it was maybe
I wanna know who
September.
vetted that petition, because only owners can sign, and I know there's a lot of renters at that dance, and I know it was taken around at the dance, and I wanna know who vetted that petition.
I do not have that information. I do not know.
Have
I
you got
have-
that information?
I have it back at the office. I have it in a file. I don't throw those things out.
Petition? I don't remember a petition.
That
I do.
Memory's going. Yes, John?
There was, if I remember, there was discussion about changing the dance.
It
And
was
they,
changed.
and they did change it, and everybody throwed a fit and
They
they
didn't
changed
want
it.
that.
Right,
They wanted
right.
So whatever that petition was involved in that whole
Yes,
deal, and it was
look
just,
back
in the
minutes.
forget about it and move on.
Long time ago.
They've been,
No,
they've been that long.
They did.
Wasn't
They
that
changed
long
it.
ago,
No, it
months ago.
wasn't.
Changed it, but it was.
And it should be in the minutes.
Let's say 4 or 5 months ago.
Right, but I don't think we ever did it, I don't think we ever, I think you said, okay, starting on April first hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna move the dances and you got such flack,
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Right.
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 cause I don't remember ever changing any contract.
Didn't.
I don't either.
But those petitions need to be vetted, and it's only to be signed by owners, and I wanna know who did it and if they were. If it was vetted, when you go get those petitions, they are vetted to make sure the owners sign it. And I don't believe this petition was.
Yes, normally, if we get a petition in here, my admin will very carefully go through, make sure that they are owners, but I don't remember
Well-
seeing it.
What I will say is that legal's position on that is that
Renters have the same
renters have the
rights.
same
right.
rights as an owner, so that would be
Stand in lieu.
WPRF's position on it. And I do know that you tried to make a change when you were on the committee, I think it was, to change or add a movie to Friday or do some kind of a change.
No, not me.
I thought it was you.
Yeah.
Anyway, historically, people are very resistant to change.
Yeah.
That's what we deal with. And as good an idea as changing it to Friday might be, people like their routines and they like coming to both the dance and the movie on a Saturday
You're
night.
saying that WPRF does not necessarily want owners to sign, they allow renters to sign? That's a big change and a big difference. I don't know how people feel about something like that. That's a very important legal issue.
No.
I'm not sure. I think we have to talk to attorneys about something like
We've
that.
gone through this before, once that ID is turned in, that renter is approved,
Yes.
they stand in lieu, they have all the
Yeah, the
same
rights.
rights.
Then why are our petitions vetted to see if that they're owners?
No,
You go,
no,
you go, Jeff.
We vet them to see if they're real, if they're real people. We have people in here who have submitted petitions with bogus signatures on them. You find that hard to believe.
I believe we vet them to see if they're owners.
No,
For election.
no, where this, well, okay,
Okay.
all right?
Yep.
Are we, yes, Stuart?
With the dance floor, you want to increase the size, have you thought about how large you or what size you want to increase it to.
Well, we're limited because we have a certain number of tables and chairs and we do not want to reduce that number. It's only 560 seats. So we don't want to reduce that. We could go maybe a 1.5 to 2 feet on either side, and we could add some also on would be the east side toward where the kitchen is. So, look, I see it as a potential problem. I know what it's like up on that dance floor. Anybody who's up there dancing, when there's any number of people up there, people are not nice. We had a woman who was bumped by, she was itty bitty, and this was a very tall gentleman, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. He caught her the wrong way with the elbow. She went down. She broke her wrist. She's had surgeries. She also went forward and hit her head on the dance floor. It damaged her eye. Her vision is different. She's had to give up driving. And I think honestly, she didn't want to sue. She wasn't getting anywhere. We were dealing with the insurance company, and our legal department was asking them to settle something on her, to give her something. But she was actually actively looking for an attorney, I understand, recently, to take on the case. And that's what we don't want. We don't want the lawsuit. It certainly would be more expensive than doing the dance floor. But at the time that we presented this, I didn't have these two incidences. This happened after we approved the budget. So I'm just bringing it to your attention. I'm alarmed by it. And hopefully this is a fluke thing and we'll have the rest of the year will be fine. We're going into season and we've got the most people we'll have come January through March.
Dancing has become a combat sport.
Tearing up the floor and putting or just adding the parquet all the way around.
It would be very, very expensive to replace it
We
with
don't need
parquet.
to
Why would
replace
you
the whole
want
thing.
it? It's all.
No, I know, but the idea is that, out of curiosity, because that would
You would stand, what we're gonna do is you
reduce
expand
the
it.
cost.
Don't forget, we tried vinyl before that, and it didn't work because their feet wouldn't slide.
Why are we second guessing all this now with
Is there any
the
way-
plan on the table?
Is there any way to limit the amount of people who go to the dances?
We'll have dance guards around the dance floor.
Well, it's not the problem, it's the amount of people.
I realize that.
I don't think that's practical. Let's wait and see what plan they come up with, and then we can beat it to death.
Just one more thing. Maybe if some of these people would pop into a dance during the season at 9 o'clock at night, they can see what it's like.
I have,
I got you.
after the shows, I've been,
Okay.
Even before the shows, it's, there's a lot of people before the show starts.
All right. This is very interesting, but
I asked Asia to provide me with the price because we did present it, so let me see if she sees the email and
price
then
of
responds.
what, the
To
total?
expand and refinish the dance.
Oh, okay, but that's a little research, right?
Well, don't forget now, we've taken music room B and we took the computer room and we flip-flopped them. So the computer room is a rather large room, and so where you're talking about the tap dance, I think that we're gonna move that off that parquet floor and put you in there. So we're starting to reschedule, different groups elsewhere. I think,
Is dancing as much fun without an audience? I'm just saying,
So you can dance with an audience.
you're putting the dance now into a cube, and there's really no room for an audience there. It wouldn't seem to me to be as interesting.
No, we just have a class in there.
Oh, a class, oh, fine,
it's a class.
fine, marvelous, okay. You seem to have some ideas on this, you should write them up for us. Everyone's invited to contribute. All right. Next case?
Instructively, we hope.
Yes, constructively, yeah. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, so.
Speed bump.
Yes, we've been having this issue, where, people were exiting out the entrance and we were putting up signs, we put up delineators. That's
Oh,
what
yes,
it was.
yes, yes.
We put up cameras and taking photos, and I was calling people, saying, we have a picture of your vehicle. We had a lot of people coming onto the island I couldn't identify. Don't know who they are, if they're, So that was an issue. We really weren't making any real headway until we put in the speed bump. And people's dislike of speed bump, they have all but stopped going out the entrance. It was the speed bump that good.
Well, you should peddle this idea to the school system, so there was that up and down staircase, remember?
Of the day.
So you solved the problem.
We solved,
Yeah, that's good.
I couldn't have predicted that it was gonna be the speed bump, but,
Do you have anything else? Because Abby is here.
No,
and
I'm not in any rush.
yes.
Normally I'm in a rush.
Yeah, well,
I'm here for the duration.
Yeah, she told me that she would wait. Here's a picture for her.
oh, thank you.
I put her down at the bottom. She said she would wait, so.
We passed it.
Oh,
We've
they
seen
have
it.
Small group in the database. Anything else under updates?
No,
Because I would like, I know Abby's got promises to keep, and I thought I'd let her come up. You're good? You have nothing to say?
I have nothing till noon. I have to be up this way.
Okay. All right, new business.
yes, we have a pickleball change order, so what we're looking at here is when they removed all the concrete, they found an old drain pipe, probably 50 years old,
It was in the newspaper, I think, in your column.
completely broken, yeah, totally broken up. So we hired, of course, the same company to go ahead and
It's like a snake.
put in some flex pipe for the drain. That's the last thing we want is water coursing down there
Where does this
and
drain?
washing out the earth.
The drain into
Back
the
of the main
pond?
clubhouse where the pickleball courts are going.
Yeah, it goes in the
Goes
pond.
into
into
the
the
pond
lake.
ultimately.
So
Not
anyway,
washing out anything.
right, so I just wanted to bring to the ops committee their attention that this new drain pipe comes in at a cost of $3,260, above and beyond the original cost of the job.
That's cheap.
This was in your column, I think, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Because I don't see, for me, I don't see enough progress being made. It took 3 weeks just to haul the concrete out. So to me, they're moving unbelievably slow.
I gotta ask a question. Now, it would appear to me, not having walked the ground, that drain wasn't working.
No,
It was non-functional. Were we having a problem? Is this a necessary drain, in other words?
Well, it actually drains the shuffleboard court, so it'll be working a lot better, let's put it this way now.
it'll be working a lot better.
You know,
Well, we would
and
have,
you know, the shuffleboard courts that are connected closer to the
Right.
clubhouse.
You don't know, it's his own statement, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
right,
If the drain wasn't working for how many years, and you weren't getting flooding,
we
Well, what
were,
happens, you could have a channel through there sometimes, you know, but
I
the
got
disturbing of the ground
okay,
broke it all up, and that's cast iron, it looks like to
I
me.
got you.
what I can tell you is, when we were contemplating this big project behind, I did bring pictures to the committee, and they did see that it looked like a lake back there
Oh, all
after the
right.
rain, and the water rose very quickly, so.
You've
I think-
answered the question.
Yeah, everything that we can do to help that rainwater, because it L's back there, the roof, so you get, 2 sides of the roof, all that water cascading down. Anything we can do for drainage and help it to go out into the lake is a good thing. And I think the cost is nominal, so. David,
David has questions.
You have no plans that there's a drain pipe there at all?
from 50 years ago, no, sir,
That's
Well-
still hard to believe.
Well, we knew we had a drain pipe there.
Yeah.
but what
Because
shape it
all
was
the
in,
shuffleboard courts were
right.
connected, but we didn't know the condition of it then.
And it was under concrete, yeah.
I would have thought you'd have floods like crazy.
Yeah.
Because once I assume it used to work, then suddenly it stopped working, and nobody knows.
Well, we did, but no money was ever given, and what were we going to do, so, you lived with the conditions as they were, but we don't have anything on paper, David, that shows us where
That's still hard to believe.
underground
It is, we don't have
things
anything,
are.
and
We
even
have
electrical or
nothing.
anything like that underneath that, to find the plans for any of the underground. Now we have certain things for the new building that we put in, but nothing in the past. And then even to go to archives, you have to go to, they're in a computer system that you gotta go and wait for a long period of time, and when this was built, hard enough for me trying to find Pembroke's.
I know.
And that's newer, that's right.
This one here, you have to go to a separate.
It's an old story, the record center burned down.
It's there, you can see, we could get the plans for some of them, okay, for the building in itself, but it's black. When you see the plans, they're just completely.
They blackened.
Yeah, they're blackened, you can't even
That
make out anything.
3,200?
3260, yes.
But for the grounds, there's nothing, just the building, that's all they have.
Anything else under new business?
What part of the budget is this gonna be put on it?
It's gonna be put under,
What's under the tennis, pickleball, like
Yeah,
1229, I think.
games and sports.
No, I'm saying, is there money in the budget for it?
Well, we have repairs on the tennis.
There was money for the entire project that was budgeted in this past year. We started the project in the past year, it wasn't completed, so it's gonna roll over into the new year. I don't know specifically what the contract amount is versus what the budget is, do you know, Eva?
The contract amount for the 4 pickleball courts,
Yeah,
I think was $75,000, that included the fencing.
and that's what our budget was, I believe.
We're
Right.
gonna be over budget.
On that line, yes, but we'll be under budget on other lines. Again, I have to remind the
Well,
committee.
we would be under budget in the
Yes.
prior year because we had budgeted $40,000 for miscellaneous repairs to tennis and pickleball, which we didn't spend anywhere near that.
And we still have money in this line for tennis for repairs that we put in too, so. I mean, we'll be over on the line of the pickleball courts
Right.
themselves, the contract, but overall, we have money in there for, in the maintenance line for tennis and repairs.
We have another question over here.
Yeah, since this is new business. In Somerset and in Camden, under the canopy, I don't know if it's mold or rust, but it's all, I don't know, has it been reported to you?
I don't know, tell me what it is, Marcia.
It
What are you
looks like
talking about?
mold or rust, I don't know, under the canopies at both Camden and Somerset.
So the
Very
ceiling,
bad, and it keeps coming down.
the
What,
ceiling,
the inside of the canopy, the ceiling of the canopy.
that's probably rust coming through.
I don't know, it looks like, I don't know if you can get mold outside, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it looks very bad, and it's really creeping further and further, and it's at Camden and Somerset.
Okay,
I reported that at our last meeting of our programs and
Was
services,
reported,
that one corner of the canopy at Camden Pool was rusted out. They had painted it once before in a different area, so this is another area of
well, it's
concern, and
very bad at Somerset.
yeah, well, I haven't been there, but I told Eva about it.
And I have one other thing to ask about, the entrance gate by that opposite Somerset H has been locked for quite a while, and there's a sign saying that's the service entrance. When you originally put that entrance in, because there wasn't always a gate there, you said that the other side near the building was not good for handicapped people because it had a ramp, so you put that gate in. I don't know if you recall, and I'm not sure when that happened. So now it's locked, it's been locked for I don't know how long, and it says service entrance, except the service people who mow don't have the key, so they come in the other entrance. Plus, the person who's in a wheelchair that lives in Somerset H can't come through there anymore. So the people are quite annoyed. And other gates have been left locked also on the other side of the tennis courts when the ambulance had to come and treat somebody, they couldn't get in because it was locked. So I don't know what's going on with all these locked entrances, but it's really causing problems.
Where are we here?
we have
complaining.
jumped to the tennis court, tennis court gates, which also includes an issue over at Somerset.
Why did we do that?
Marcia brought something up,
Okay.
where we were talking about,
Oh, it's new
What were
business,
we
so I thought I
talking
could bring it up.
Started out with the canopy.
Okay, it's under discussion.
first it was the canopy and rust spots.
Oh, okay, fine. Is there any, we're done with new business?
Yeah.
David?
I still had another question about the pickleball change order. Do we sign a contract with them with no completion date on it?
Yes,
Why?
they couldn't give us one. They've been having problems getting equipment. It seems a lot of,
We signed the contract before the hurricane.
that's true, we did.
This does, who's it,
We don't have a completion date,
No, it's
no.
with,
Fast Strike Course?
Fast Strike.
No,
No, it's, Sports
pickleball is with
Services.
Sports Services. The shuffleboard courts are with Fast Dry.
Okay.
Because we're not their only customer, and they have a calendar, and they will not schedule us until they have a signed contract. Then they look at their calendar to see where they can fit us in. Same thing with Fast Dry. They will not hold dates, because in the past, we looked like we were going to sign the contract, and we've stepped away from the
No.
project, and,
At the time
you
you
know,
sign the
so
contract, you should also have a completion date.
they have
They don't
to,
operate that way.
doesn't operate that way,
When they put you in their queue,
right.
they should also have a completion date.
It's unfortunately, but that's, right now with the work that's going on, we have a hard time even with just putting that in court. But we do put it,
That's not, that's that company's problem, that shouldn't be our problem.
yeah,
We should have a completion date when you sign that type of contract.
Right.
well, we give 30 days.
I don't think we have too many companies to pick.
They,
Let me ask you a
our
question.
contract clap, we do.
The lack of a completion, where are we going here? Incentives for early completion, I mean, what's his line of reasoning leading to?
Well, my point is that we don't know when the pickleball courts are gonna be finished, it could be a year from now.
Dave, just to let you know too, we do have a completion date on our contracts, we have a start date and we usually give 30, 60 days, okay?
Okay.
We have to look at what it is, I know, I don't have that information in front of me, but we could find that out for you and get back to you on that. But I'm gonna just tell you, just with this particular tennis courts, okay, between Fast Dry, Sports Services, McCourt, they're all in that same situation. We don't have, they'll tell us something even to paint a court, just to paint it, it took us a while over in Pembroke Pines, in Boca. So, and including the handball court, so we'll keep on with them, and I know they'll get it done, it's just that we do have, when we reach our date of the contract ends, then we get a hold of them because we have to redo something with our attorneys with the contract, okay? But we do have a completion date on that. We usually on that one, I'm gonna say it's 90 days.
Well, it gives a
If I'm not
span of
mistaken.
time, but I don't think it gives us an actual date.
No, we give
It
90
usually
days.
does.
It does.
It usually
Our
does?
contracts that
Our
are,
contracts gives us
I've
dates.
signed so many contracts in the past few weeks, I don't remember the
Yeah.
specific
Let me get
date
back
on
with you
that.
that, Dave, and then I'll give you a little bit
I'm not
more.
talking about signing a contract with a supplier,
No, it's a contract, it's our contract that we give, okay, with them, and if not, if they don't meet that requirement, we get back with them, okay, on that, to re-sign or do something with the contract.
Did this-
But we don't have a penalty clause or anything like that on this particular,
Did this contract come to bids?
Yes, it
yes,
is.
it did.
Okay. I would think that if this is a major issue, that's where this should have been caught. Contract signed, okay?
I think what happened,
If this is gonna become an interest of importance, it should be caught at a lower level. Don't you
I
think?
agree, but we don't see the final contract either, David.
well, you do actually, we provide, once we have all the contracts signed by the vendors, anything over $10,000, UCO gets copies. We put it in a binder, you should have them for this past year,
We do.
and they're there for you to look at, David, you can go through
They're in
them.
the database
Right.
and Donald, for convenience, keeps hard copy.
Right. We
So-
provide hard copy as well.
Right.
So they're there for you to look at.
I got you.
Now, what happened with pickleball is that when it got to bids, instead of looking at the contract and discussing it, and I think Ed can bear this out because Dom's not here, the discussion was more toward killing the project than it was actually looking at the contracts. Because I had to come back and I had to,
I thought that the pickleball court really did need some work. Of course, I don't play, but I kind of remember that it came through and this issue didn't come up.
I don't think the contracts were looked at.
Well,
The bids were looked at because the discussion was about saving the money and not moving forward, and that they were gonna kill it. So the bid committee, effectively, the decision that was made at that time, that they were presented, was to kill the project. So when I brought it to the ops committee to approve a vendor, there wasn't a vendor that was actually chosen by the bid committee. So we had to
I think we did approve it at bid.
we didn't, we approved it at the ops meeting.
So it came out of bids not approved, you're saying?
Correct.
I don't remember that. I remember the big issue, it was very noisy, pickleball was noisy, and I thought we were gonna move it, it was keeping people in Somerset awake with the pop, pop, bang, bang. And I thought that was one of the major reasons we went ahead of it.
Yes, it was.
Well, it was,
Right.
well, that's why it was approved by the ops committee for the budget. But when I got to the ops meeting, the discussion was that we can't kill it because in order to be able to move forward with tennis, we had to get pickleball out of there. Does this sound familiar to anybody?
Yes, yes.
I remember you discussing the two vendors at the ops committee.
Yes, and saying that
I think
it was,
bids just passed on either quote.
then it wasn't looked at
We
right.
did not recommend anybody.
Right. Because it was, because the opinion was that the project should not move forward, which is, to me, killing it, which, again, I had to say to the ops committee that bids doesn't have that authority.
That's correct.
Right.
Now, once again, it still doesn't predate my only question.
I understand.
Completion date.
I understand.
I will get you some more, we're gonna have a meeting with them, honestly, we'll call, gonna have a meeting, bringing them in, okay, and we'll give you more information, we'll, as soon as we finish with this meeting, getting them in here, okay?
Thank you.
The principal reason David's, it's not really a complaint, but his issue. In Florida, as you may recall, we had an incredible problem with people who built swimming pools with ambiguous contracts. And once they had your down payment, they disappeared and never came back. Now, I assume these vendors we're dealing with are vetted, reliable vendors. That would be my principal concern with ambiguous dates of commencement and completion. Some of these contracts, they just walked away from these things. You don't get into that.
Now, we, honestly, in my time here, at 30 years, I only had one, okay, of that ever happening, and it happened during the hurricane in 2005 with a door company that actually went under.
That's right.
But other than that, we've been on top of support services, definitely reliable, fast drive, reliable, been around for many years.
Whatever happened to Pete's Graffiti?
It was, we were trying
But
to open
I'll
New
get
Year's
back
Eve.
with you on this, we'll schedule a meeting with them and we'll find out exactly where they're at as dates and get back to you on this, okay?
Sports
We'll put you on it.
Services completed pickleball courts for both Century Village. I went down to take a look at the quality and whether I would be happy with them as a vendor to do that for us.
And you were.
They did an excellent job.
You know where Pete went? Same place Lois Landine. All right. Moving right along.
I don't know who that is. I know
I
Pete,
just
but I don't
said
know
who's
Lois.
Lois.
I have no idea who Lois
Look
Landine
at our
is.
original documents, her name's at the bottom of every
She
one of
worked
them.
for our corporation. She did a good job.
Lois Landine.
I don't know that
I
name.
didn't miss anything, I didn't think so.
All right, hi, Tony.
Hi, Miss Tony. It's Biz.
Are we moving on to Q and A?
I hope so.
What's NYE ticket prices?
New Year's Eve ticket price.
New Year's Eve.
Oh, the New York
There was a
Exchange.
question at the last meeting
Yes.
as to the cost of the tickets, whether they were officially approved. Abby's here to speak on that.
Okay.
I keep minutes to every meeting and the discussion took place and you made the motion to raise the ticket price. And your comments were, where can you go for $15 for New Year's Eve?
I don't remember that.
I have no stake in the game, I have no personal agenda here, you kept your other theme dances at $10, you all chose to charge the $15. So we can address that issue when I meet with you for the 19-20 season, whether you wanna keep it or you wanna reduce it. Has anybody heard any complaints about it?
Nope.
Then at this point, I don't think that you should ever reduce anything, that's my personal opinion. Okay.
Let's keep moving it up till somebody complains.
Squeeze them till they squeak. Yeah.
I don't think people realize the tickets are $15 as of yet, because they haven't purchased any.
Not, they go on sale next month.
Next month they go on.
But it is advertised in the happenings that has been out for over a month.
Yes,
Well, it's also on your, order form.
yes.
Yes, and which has been out since
I don't
July.
have a problem.
And my emails.
Where can you go for $15?
You can't.
You can't.
Right.
And you're gonna have Guy Lombardo as royal Canadian?
God rest his soul.
I wish they should work like you asked me
I would
for.
buy a ticket if he was here.
Tony.
Yes, this morning for Victor.
What's included for $15 besides guide?
Favors,
chair to sit in.
Music and ice, cups and ice, right?
Right. So we put snacks on the table, like we do for all the other events. They get a hat
And the music.
and,
And
little noise
blowers.
makers and blowers. And put balloons on the tables, tablecloths, people bring their own hors d'oeuvres, but we do have snack food on the tables.
Okay.
Alright.
It's what was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, then for $15, what's the big deal?
Right,
Sells out, doesn't it?
It's too cheap.
or is it?
So a guest will be
Honestly, I forget who you have.
Hold on.
Bottom line is,
Pretty good.
Let's
your
have
discussion about how many guests there
one
were.
speaker at a time. Guys, alright, yes, that's it?
Well worth the $15.
Sure.
Is there anything to be done with this? Go ahead, Tony.
well, bottom line is if it's a fair price, and around here, people complain about the prices just because it is. If you charged them a penny, it would be too much.
They'd have to break $1 to get the penny.
Yeah.
Will there be centerpieces on the table for people to fight over?
Yes.
Ice buckets.
Buckets with
They have to knock
We
down
do
drink outs.
balloons for New Year's, we do balloons.
Remember the big fight over the Halloween pumpkins? I couldn't-
Yes.
That was
I
how we
remember
went
that.
to their-
You would not believe the arguments over candy and cookies
Sure.
in the center of the table.
It is.
Do they eat them right
No,
there
they
that
take 'em
night?
home.
They take them home and let them.
Alright. Let's not transition to Tupperware time. Alright, Abby, anything else?
Oh, I have plenty.
Show sign.
That was another issue that came up. We get into these conversations and then we kind of go, it's an offshoot. So when I ask and I send out my agenda and say, if there's anything you want to discuss, that came up just as an aside. So Abby always says, if they're going to talk about anything to do with entertainment, let me know and I'll be there. So Abby just wanted to come because both of these items were discussed at the last meeting. She just wanted to have the opportunity to speak with you directly.
Is there
So-
any questions or concerns? Go ahead.
We're gonna make the, whatever you call it, the stuff.
Banners,
The banners, you're gonna make those larger,
Yes,
right?
next year.
Next year.
But we have a cost for that.
Because I think that's a great idea.
That's correct. We're going to make them the largest they possibly can be, which will be 30 by 72. And the bid is, for all of them, will be up to $2,004.13.
Because they use it in Massachusetts for Tanglewood and all those other things.
Very
Yeah.
high class stuff. Marcia?
Yeah, we don't have any more foreign films, and foreign films are very good. We used to have at least once in a while a foreign film.
Marcia, we've been through this so many times.
Yeah,
We
but nothing
ask for
happened.
foreign films, they're not obtainable. When they are obtainable, they're the same foreign films that are on your TV. And then we put foreign films in and we get complaints.
They don't like subtitles, most people.
I think so.
Doesn't bother me.
You have to train yourself to read. You have to train yourself, that's work.
I don't even feel as though I'm reading them after a while. I get so involved in the
Right,
movie that.
exactly. But it takes a while to get to that point.
While we're on the topic of theater, before we go to active shooter seminar, I wanna give you a piece of good news. Last year at this, as of yesterday morning when I printed this, we had sold $162,871.25 of sales last season. We are up to $195,300.
Fabulous.
So we're almost $27,000 to $30,000 in the positive this year based on last year's sales.
Great.
I'm really, really happy about that. The summer, I have been tracking your summer since 2014. And the summer ranges anywhere from 30 to 32 shows. It depends on how many Saturday nights fall. So most months are 31 shows. There was one month we had 32, and this year we had 30. I guess it's just the way it falls. But interestingly, in 2014, you had a gross, and I deal only with gross on this piece of paper because it just interests me. We didn't have Vendini in those days. We had $34,000 of income. The following year in 15, we had 42,000, and I'm rounding out the numbers. In 16, we had 35,000. In 17, we had 39,000. This summer, we had 42,000. Which is great. And I bring this up because I want to reiterate the two things that this committee, that I've been asking you for years because you're always disappointed in the attendance in the summer. And you're not, for the most part, you're not disappointed with the shows, you're disappointed and embarrassed for the performers, which I think is very, very kind and nice of you. So we had talked about and you had approved, and I want to reiterate because I know it sounds very unrealistic to you, but we are already working on the summer. We're done with the season. I mean, we have to live with it, we have to work it out, but paperwork-wise, we're done. So we had told you about Pembroke Pines and their success with buy four, get one free.
Right.
In a fifth month where there's 5 weeks, you would still only get 3 for free. Those purchases must be made within the same month. You can't buy one in April, one in May, and one in June. So I need this committee to reiterate to me that they definitely want this to happen for this summer.
We voted on this.
I know, but we tend to vote on things and they change.
I don't think you ever brought it up as a monthly allotment though.
Always, because I gave them the rules of Pembroke Pines.
This is the first time I remember saying it had to be all purchased in the same month.
Well,
Why don't you review the whole program real quick for
Okay,
them?
but I reviewed how Pembroke did it, so,
Not to my knowledge. I always thought it was just get one if you buy it.
no, it's buy 4 for 3 for the summer special. Purchase 3 tickets at any 1 month and receive 1 free show for that month. This offer is valid for residents only and can only be purchased at the ticket office. To receive the free ticket, it must be selected at the time of purchase, and a companion pass is excluded from this special. That's Pembroke's rules. I don't know, do you have companion passes here?
We do.
So in other words, you buy 3 and you get
Buy
one.
4.
Buy 4, but you have to do it at the same time that you're buying those.
Same month.
Right, same
Within
month.
that
Same
month,
month.
that's correct.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we have a copy for the minutes of this thing?
Yeah, can I get you a clean one, just because I've written all over it? I'll email it to you. I'll email the
John gets it.
BOGO.
Anyone wanna make a motion on this?
We already
Yeah,
voted on
we
this?
It's already done.
We did.
We did, but we do have tendencies when it comes out, and I don't want it to come out and you have second thoughts.
No, I remember voting on it and we approved it.
Otherwise, if that happens, then we have to go, every month, we have to talk about it so we don't forget it. At our ages, it's cut.
Okay.
I'm right up there,
Possible.
I'm right up there with you, so we are going to move forward.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna
Okay.
ask if you wanted a motion.
No,
We voted last month.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
We voted on it.
Okay, great. Because of a conference that I have to attend in March, I would like to know if there's possibility of setting a date with you now for next March for the 1920 approval. And since you're the first ones I'm asking, it could be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, March 18, 19, or 20. Does anybody keep a calendar that far in advance?
Rhoda does, but she's not here.
We got time.
I don't wanna
All I'm asking for is to move my
Is it the first, check, see if it's the third Tuesday,
It would be. What
It would be.
then that's my day.
do you mean your day?
They don't want that day.
That's insurance day.
Okay.
Oh, your meeting.
My insurance meetings are the
That's
third.
why we need Rhoda in here.
So no 18th then?
So 18th is no good for you.
No, all I'm saying is,
18 is Monday.
Monday.
Right.
That's the third Monday in March.
But then don't you have
you
staff
were
meetings
talking
on Monday?
Monday? All it's
Monday,
the
Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Tuesdays are, I have a third Tuesday as
So
mine.
how about we do
Oh,
Monday,
okay.
March 18th as a temporary, and I will email you and Rhoda and Eva.
Sounds good off the top of my head.
Her principal task is deconflicting the calendar.
Okay. And mornings are always good.
Yes.
You'd have, if it's a Monday, that's staff meeting,
No, he said you can't.
Just after that.
huh?
We can
Cancel
do it 10.
10 to 10 will be done.
Okay.
That would be fine.
Okay, great.
10:00?
We'd have a quick step.
I was gonna review the budgets, but Monica already did that. I think we're done.
That's it.
Any questions?
Questions for Abby? Just imagine what the ticket sales would be if you had Rocky and the Rollers.
They're coming next year, I promise. I think I'm opening the season in West Palm, just for
Well, I'm looking forward to the doo-wop project. We hit 2 years in a row.
You know,
We
it's
skipped
interesting,
last year.
today at 2:00 at the Crowder Center
And for how much, right?
is the Modern Gentleman,
They're also marvelous.
$45 or whatever.
That happens with a lot of shows that we have here.
Yep,
And also
called
over,
The World of
and
Music.
also over at Duncan.
$45?
You know who you haven't had back
Who?
is the pianist, the jazz pianist.
Ethan Bortnick?
No.
No.
A couple years ago, I can't remember, he was fabulous.
Jazz pianist?
Yes, black gentleman, slender. You've only had him once since I've been, he was fabulous.
I have no idea who you're talking.
I don't think he did too well, but he was very, very good.
I don't.
If we're tossing in Rocky and the Rollers, that's who I was.
Well, Charo's coming back.
Oh,
I can't wait.
oh my God, with or without a walking,
She still looks great, I gotta tell you.
She looks fabulous.
She
I
looks-
didn't realize how talented she was, and I stayed away because I could not stand that coo.
Yeah, right.
But she did.
Yeah.
If you don't have tickets for this Saturday night,
She
Carol,
dropped that though.
I just got a
Thank
ticket for
God.
that.
Carol Woods ain't We Got Fun. Carol unfortunately has a mass in her spine.
But the guy who's coming sounds great.
But we've replaced it with Johnny Patillo. You have seen Johnny Patillo within the Tony Orlando show years ago, and he used to do flips, and he was part of the Duprees.
Yep.
So he'll be here Saturday night with a comic by the name of Jeff Loud. It will be a fun show. So you
Oh,
should all
about
get
Ethan.
tickets.
Ethan. He was here last year.
Ethan, you know, I'm gonna tell you, and I tell this to everybody, all the theater goers, after the show, you all go up and you say, thank you, we loved you, you're fabulous,
Now he-
can't wait for you to come back.
And now he does.
Well, now Ethan Bortnick wants a $5,000 raise, and he will not, and nor does he need to
Okay.
settle for anything less. And I said,
God.
He
sorry.
doesn't need us, that's for sure.
I remember that. Remember the grandma was out
Yes,
there?
yeah.
And he was out there
Yep.
and people were
Selling
oohing and
The
ahhing.
Pembroke Committee, I do have to say, is the worst at that, meaning they love to talk to the artists, they love to hang out with them, and then their egos go like ballistic.
Right.
Like the Bronx Wanderers are very good at that though. I mean, they love it when, the fact that they do come out.
Well, listen, people, for the most part, there's very few artists that aren't happy to come out and talk to you.
Oh, I know.
You know, that
Well, they say-
that feeds their soul.
Their ego.
Well, their egos and their souls, and listen, we all like to be told we're doing a good job.
Right.
We all like to be told we love you, that was a fantastic night. I mean, so most artists
I
don't
remember,
mind doing that.
I remember this kid on public television.
Me too. Oh, sure.
I bet he was 3 years old.
Right.
Yes, Ethan Bortnick.
First time
I have to
saw
say
him.
though, usually this time of the year, the shows are not that busy. Because I always look at the side sections, and I'll tell you, I think we've been doing pretty well this fall,
We've had on an average close between 500 and 600.
which is pretty good, I think, for this time of the year.
Yeah, you're very last minute ticket buyers. One other real quick thing I wanted to tell you, because you guys have asked in the past and I just happen to have the information. You guys, we have $131,000 in credit cards versus cash of $14,000 versus checks of $49,000.
So Fantini's been fabulous.
So, well, the point is that people are buying on credit cards, which of course cost us, cost us, but you have asked in the past the difference, so since I had it with
What's
me,
it
I wanted
cost,
to share.
3%?
It varies depending on the card that's used.
We don't take American Express.
Nobody takes
Yeah,
American
we don't
Express.
take American Express.
Are we
no.
still leading the 3 villages in credit card sales? Because we have in the past been the highest.
I didn't bring
I don't
those,
know.
I
I
have
didn't
those
look at
figures, but I didn't.
Focus credit cards are pretty high
Focus,
too.
pretty high.
Getting there, yeah.
Yeah, Simford's low.
Abby, what's your breakdown between walk-ins and online and mail?
I have those statistics and I can get them to you, but I don't have them off the top of my head.
I'd be interested,
Yeah.
because I'd like to see that
I-
online.
You'd be surprised that the online sales are not near as high as you would expect them to be.
Because they have to
Every
pay
time
a
I look
service.
at it, yeah.
Big extra dollar, yes.
So you wanna know walk-in, I don't know if I can get, that I don't know, but you wanna know,
Just a rough estimate, how many with the mail-in, how many, send their money in, fill out that form, how many walk in and buy tickets and.
You're not gonna get that.
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna
You're not
get
gonna
that.
get
I
that.
can get you the number of orders that we process through the mail.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna be able to distinguish whether it was purchased the night of, whether it was purchased, yeah.
People are sitting down and ordering tickets via snail mail.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
That's the way they've always done it.
They don't want
They get
change.
the thing, they get the happenings, they get the thing, they
The
write it down.
happenings, the order forms, everything is on the
Emails.
link. If you go on our website and you subscribe, if you know how to subscribe to feeds, all the shows, you subscribe to West Palm, all the shows will appear in your calendar on your phone.
I have to say, Vendini, I don't know if it was you or Vendini, the way the shows are presented now, when I go
We
online,
just changed that.
I think it's fabulous.
It was an option that Vendini
I like
gave
it.
us, and we were able to change it, so we're getting, as the years go on and as Vendini, we were one of Vendini's first customers. And we were
I
one
was
of
on that
Vendini's
committee.
biggest ones, which
Yes.
is scary, cause.
But I like the
we're
way
not
it's,
that
I
big.
like the way it's shown now.
Yeah, Vendini is getting better and better all the time.
It's like a snake oil salesman, a great thing.
I never asked what it stands for.
Maybe the guy's name.
A lot of theaters use them.
Good.
We're not the only
All
ones.
right, guys, let's see if we can move along a little bit.
good idea.
You got anything else?
I'm done.
All right, active shooter.
Computer seminar.
Is this for everybody or just your folks?
No, I think that this one we're gonna do just for the folks, which means my staff, the ushers, and security. I have, of course, we have other people who wanna come, some people from corporate, we've got, I don't know, the temple, local temple would like to send a couple of people, and,
I'm not gonna mention names, but I'll simply say we have people on campus that carry guns. And one in particular, goes through the gate and flips off the guards. And he habitates the clubhouse. And he's up on the second floor, harassing the guards, photographing the guards, cursing the guards, and is known to have a weapon.
So why can't we get rid of them?
And we have to protect ourselves in any way we can. We don't wanna turn the facility into an armed fort,
right,
but if I had to pick my number one candidate for the next mass shooting, it would be this individual. We're doing everything we can, and Eva's people need this training. As people in this building, now we've had one open active shooter seminar in the past. I'm sure some of you were there. Two DEA folks came in, it was very good briefing. It's a classic active shooter protocol.
Oh, God.
Right? Flee, hide, fight. All right? And all this is explained. You go into a building for the first time, note where the exits are. Note how you're gonna get out. This is all presented in the training, and I think it's a great idea. And I think we are going to schedule another one for everybody.
right.
But your people really
You know,
need this training.
they do, because if the worst case scenario happened, you go into, you know, it's a panic, it's an adrenaline rush, and there's a panic that descends. And so if any part of this seminar sticks in your brain and gives you a structure in which to operate, that you can get yourself out safely and save others and get them to safety too, this is what we need to do. Unfortunately, in today's world, we are a soft target. You know, when you think of the theater and the number of people there, or the dance, if somebody wanted, you know, to make a big impact, I think that's where it would happen. You know, so we can't set up metal detectors, we're not gonna be checking bags, it's an impossibility. Think about a show night, what that would take, and the lines out the door if we had to check bags. Or even that we would put up signs saying, we're now going to restrict the size of the bags, and women have to bring in clear, where you can look through, you can see through the bag. You know, we're thinking of anything and everything that we can do, and really, we are hampered by that. I know Abby shared the fact that, no, I think it wasn't Abby, it was Mark, shared the fact that the Kravis Center checks bags before you go in to a performance. Yes. But that's, all they're doing is coming into a performance, not to a Saturday night dance where you've got this huge bag and you're bringing drinks and you're bringing hors d'oeuvres and, you know. So that makes it very difficult for us to say, well, you can only bring a bag this big and it has to be see-through. So in looking at everything, the best thing that we can do is arm the staff, meaning ushers, security, and my staff, and anybody else corporate-wise or from UCO that wants to come and attend. The good news is it's at no charge, and we're looking to schedule it in December. And I do think that maybe January would be a good thing
Well,
to do it again for the masses.
obviously, if you schedule it, let me know.
Sure.
And we'll get UCO people who are interested.
Yeah.
Tony's next.
I got something from Philadelphia, the active shooter and the ALICE program, whatever that is. I have a call into them to see if, you were asking whether or not we'd be able to get them here and if there would be any price. I also was talking with George yesterday, and I think he mentioned PBSO, and he said there would be no cost for that as well.
Philadelphia did have an active shooter seminar.
It's in Orlando now.
Okay, it was in
Back
Fort
in
Lauderdale.
September.
Okay.
Yeah, back a couple of months ago, and it was free to anybody that wanted to go. Some of our administrators went.
My question was to Tony, if you can work her magic, would they come here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Carrier come here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I have a call in, she returned the call and I didn't get a chance to call her back tomorrow, so I'll do that today.
Right.
One of them, a few things I have to do today, so,
Well,
let's see, you know.
when I came to David to talk about what we had going on in the clubhouse and Ed at the gates, it was David that said, put me to George and say, talk to George. You know, there'll be no charge because Platinum was recommending a company called Lion's Den. But I think the charge there is upwards of $2,000. Well, we've got George who can arrange this through PBSO.
Yes.
So, as he did in the past.
It's not necessary to pay for this. Your best source, DEA, PBSO, and those are free. I think, David, you've been waiting? No? John?
I was just gonna say, I know several people in here, PTSD with M16s and 14s that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this particular person's very on the he's very on the surface, you know, so the expectation is because he's on the surface with it, and it's, you know, it could be anybody, like you said, we have people failing mental health, medications, you know, whatever. Hopefully it'll never happen, but I think we need to be as prepared as we can be.
There are a lot of guns in this village.
Yes, there are.
And World War II munitions. We had a case some years ago with a grenade. Nobody knew if it was safe. Turned out it was. I had a next door neighbor, may they both rest in peace. We're both in the Haganah, and he pulls this box out for me one day. with the Kalashnikov that he carried in the Haganah, how long ago? This is before the state of Israel
Right.
was the state of Israel. Right? 60 plus 70 years ago. I couldn't believe this weapon. I could not believe it. I know.
Antiques.
Yeah.
And-
All right,
Yeah,
so you'll keep us in the loop?
absolutely. Dave?
Great. Yes, John?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have any plan for, crowd control training for the?
We are working on that.
Didn't we have that a couple years ago?
Yeah,
It
it's
expired.
over now.
It expired.
Is it
It's live already, yes.
Right, so what we're doing,
I was on it.
I've contacted the different heads, because we need a count, we have to guarantee a minimum of 25. So we're getting the count now, and we'll be scheduling it.
Yeah, because 5 years, I went, I can't believe it's 5
No,
years.
it's, I think it's 3, isn't it, every 3
Been a while.
years?
Whatever.
3 years.
I think it's
It's
I was, several people asked me about it because their,
Because we were,
no thing is expiring.
Mine did too, right.
Is
Mhm.
expiring, so
we were discussing fire drills, and it's been a while. Phyllis Richland was a VP in here when we were discussing fire drills, and she
We
eventually ended
still
up
haven't had one.
on the fire board. And she had good connections, but I don't think we ever did it.
I don't think we ever had a fire drill.
Never had a fight.
Never did it. All right, can we move along? Tennis court gates. I see a representative from tennis club.
Les Rivkin?
Les, would you like to make some statements?
I didn't come here specifically as a representative, I came to listen, but yeah, and Marcia brought this up, as well, the gate on the north side of, by court 2 and 3 has been locked, on and off. When Tom's there, he opens it up early in the morning, and on weekends it's been locked. And this has caused a problem in the past, when Marty fell and the EMTs got into that gate, and they had to go around. Eva has addressed this and has said that we don't lock it anymore, but this last Saturday I was playing.
It was locked.
And it was locked again.
Right.
So I don't know who, Tom's not there, I don't know who has keys. Not only is it potentially a danger with an emergency situation, but when we, as wonderful players as we are occasionally hit the ball with the button, then we have to go all the way around the court to get it because that gate's locked and you can't go out that gate to get the ball.
Right.
So it's a pain in the butt when that happens. That, there should be equal access to all that place, all the courts.
Absolutely. I know this came up back in June, because I was able to back into an email that I had generated as a result about the north gate is to be unlocked every morning. And yes, Tom takes care of it during the week, but he's not there Saturday and Sunday. So the setup was that if, between security and or my 2 pool guys, because they alternate and work 7 days a week. So if they're the first there, then they can unlock it, and security should also be checking it. I don't know what happened this past Saturday and why it was missed. It was a holiday weekend, I don't know if that's anything to do with anything. But again, another memo went out today stating that this has to be checked by both and that it's to be kept unlocked. I'd asked why it was kept locked, and I was told at one time that people from the north, that live on the north side of Somerset, that they were actually walking, they would come in through the gate and walk through the tennis courts to get to the pool area while people were playing, and I don't know if you've been born witness to that or not.
Never witnessed that.
Okay. Wow. So, I agree, when you have, emergency personnel that are trying to get to somebody, we should absolutely, all gates should be accessible. So, that's our intent as WPRF, this is my second memo, you know,
Why do we
so.
bother locking it at all? I mean, even if people walk across it, we're not gonna wear it out that much, but somebody walking across it.
You know, it was something that we've just always secured them at night.
I suppose you could go in with your roller
Skateboard,
skates or your
roller skates and skateboards.
If you could do that, God bless you.
Are the courts lit for night play? No,
Not there.
okay.
They're not.
So, this could be assigned on weekends, could it not, to Platinum?
Yeah.
And hold their feet to the fire.
They're being dangerous.
Is the other gate kept locked during non-play hours?
I don't think so.
I think at night, when they go to lock up the pool areas, they lock up
They
the
lock
tennis
it up.
courts at the same time.
Alright,
Yeah, but they're not opening them.
Well, but the other gates are, it seems to be this north gate that remains a question, but that's old habits die hard. They're not used to unlocking it, so again, this is my second memo to that regard. I've already pulled Steve in, the supervisor, and we've had that conversation yesterday.
is there something about the geography of the north gate that would tend to make emergency vehicles
Yeah, there's a road,
park there to
there's a
enter?
road right there.
Of course.
There's no road on the other side, there's
Well,
grass you gotta go through.
We ought to keep those responsibles feet to the fire because seconds count,
They do.
seconds count. All right, thanks, Les. Marcia?
Just want to know if you know about the miniature greyhounds that have been by the sailing area.
I've seen two,
Two.
someone that walks them.
With
Yeah,
two,
I
yes.
see them by my
I've seen them.
house.
Is somebody bringing them to the sailing area?
Racing them down there now.
They are, they're
They're
called.
racing? No.
They're whippets, they're called whippets.
Racing is one.
Hold on.
They've been here twice, and I've
Shit about them. Great.
Someone is walking those dogs.
Yes, a
Someone-
lady, a younger lady.
Shut my mouth and not cough?
the other day. You have the camera facing Bonnie, maybe you need to have the camera facing the other way.
Well, we need listen, again, we need cameras everywhere just to show us what's going
But
on.
what about the guards? What are they don't see that?
Obviously, they haven't, but I'm going to put them on high alert now. No dogs on property. They chase dogs, people and dogs all the time.
Those are
I just wish they would pick up their.
All right, folks,
I make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
wow,
Hold it.
hold on.
I just have one question I would
Oh, I
like to
thought we were
ask.
done. I'm sorry, I thought we were done. I apologize.
I just would like to ask one question on the Estaples. The drop in sales, did you guys do any research as to determine why it dropped so dramatically?
We have not. The last time we talked about that is at the committee, I think the consensus was that it was fewer Canadians that were purchasing in West Palm. I'm not seeing this same level of decrease in Boca and Pembroke. It's only in West Palm.
Is there a correlation can be drawn with increasing prices?
Well, the prices are definitely increasing,
So,
right, yeah.
product price
Last year,
increases,
so-
the sale generally goes down.
More people are happy and not selling.
Statistically,
I hope to believe.
you can analyze this sort of thing statistically.
people like them.
Uh,
Yeah, I know.
obviously, if it's something more insidious than that, we
I know
wouldn't
like in Boca, I think they had one less unit sold in this past fiscal year than the prior year, so they're not seeing like that 7% drop like we've seen here. And their prices are going up faster than
They were
are in
always,
West.
they were always higher than us.
Yes, yes, they are.
You know, I have seen some sales, can't believe, but it's proximity to the temple, I've seen units now going for $200,000.
Yeah.
I was telling her, you are mid thing.
Yeah.
Who would have thought,
Mm-hmm.
David?
Yeah, I just wanted, Dan and Eva, have you made any progress on that portable handrail at the stage?
Stage, yeah, we are actually, this budget year, we said we would take care of that, so we'll definitely get you to the budget
It's
committee. It's funded, yes, so this month.
What is that?
Does this thing?
I know we're working on that, so we got it.
It's not on the agenda, this popped up recently, and I thought I'd bring it here because I'd gotten something from Donald Foster where we have primary care physicians. You know, they wanna advertise, we get this all the time. But the reason I'm putting this with this water fountain is I'm getting requests for these type of water fountains where you can fill a bottle as well as drink from it. Right, but they are not cheap.
Everybody's seen it.
But I was recently walking and I saw that they had put a wrap on one, advertising. Now, it would offset the cost, and I thought I'd bring it to the committee, because at one time I thought it was mentioned that maybe we would do advertising on the buses to offset the costs. I've never seen it happen. I don't know if the committee would be predisposed to something like that. So I'm just bringing it to your attention, sort of like planting a bee in the bonnet type thing to see.
You raise a good point, and I'm not really certain it's for us here. Hold on. We're getting a number of doctors in the medical center. Now, we have two things here that are conflicting. We have a roadway agreement. Roadway agreement, everyone should read, that precludes any vendor in that building from bringing people in from outside.
Right.
And we've talked to, I think his name is Shear, he's either the manager or the owner. And we've made it clear that some effort should be made by these doctors to bring up business in our campus. All right, so they're going to stage an event, big event with signs and blah, blah, blah. It's expanding and expanding.
If they have food, everyone will come.
Next it'll be free blood pressure tests, I don't know. We can't complain. It's gonna be a day, it's gonna be a little messy over there with signs and blah, blah, blah. Big truck, I understand. You can't cut them off from bringing visitors in, but then say they can't advertise in various ways to develop business on campus. It would do us all good, I think, to have a cadre of physicians in there of all different specialties.
But they aren't, there's one doctor there, we found that out at a meeting.
I understand there's gonna be a dozen.
Don't believe it.
Well,
That may be their goal, is to have a dozen.
we will see what they have to say.
So,
But these fountains, I think they're incredible.
Yeah, I want to say something about the water fountains. Okay, I come from, where I go to Massachusetts for the summer, there's a town called Great Barrington. They have banned individual bottles. And they have stations like that where you can refill your bottles, but you can no longer buy individual water
Really?
bottles. And I think that is gonna become, just like every town I live near in Massachusetts does not allow plastic bags any longer. You bring your own bag, or they charge you 10 cents for a paper bag. And I think that is the coming thing with all of this. People being.
What is the cost of this,
That I don't know.
this one happens to be more expensive, because this arm extends, you have one where this is included, it's just one single shaft. I think this right now is something like $3,000. You know, so that's why.
I'm not that thirsty.
So that's why, when I passed this the other day, I'm always looking what we can,
Where do
use
they
maybe
get
in
the
the
water
village.
from? Where do they get the water from?
Well, they gotta put it by a water source.
And then that goes through the filtration system
Right.
inside? And then they have to maintain that
Right,
filtration.
if you're out there and it's warm, water is heavy, so you've got several bottles. This way you have the opportunity to refill it. Some of our fountains do need replacing. And maybe this would be the thing, is to allow advertising.
where would we put it?
This one happens to be up in Port St. Lucie.
Hold on a
That's where I
second.
came across it. But,
Well, why don't we figure out some places where something like this, where you get a lot of people, especially during the summer, like at the pools, where it's out of the way, and so that you can, it would be really nice if you're gonna spend a day at the pool to bring one water bottle and know you're good for the day, because, then.
well, I'm thinking two locations. This one of these would be at the tennis courts. And
Oh,
then the
yeah,
other
that'd be
one would
really
be
good.
back behind the clubhouse where we're putting in the pickleball courts.
Right.
Because back there now you have shuffleboard, pickleball, petanque, and then racquetball. So I think this would.
You bring one bottle and you're good for the day.
Right, that's right,
All right, hold on, Marcia.
that's right.
I think it's ridiculous. Really,
Oh, shit.
5 minutes away, they're not coming from making a trip from far. We have families all over the place, I think it's unnecessary.
I would prefer a seltzer
We appreciate your
dispenser.
enthusiastic endorsement.
Seltzer, you're supposed to say it's seltzer.
I just said it has my little
If you ask me,
comment.
I would
A
like.
seltzer dispenser with a little bottle of chocolate syrup on the side.
No, no,
And that would
lime.
go over just
Lime, I like
well.
my seltzer.
All right.
People don't realize, it's the coming thing, it's the coming thing.
Does anyone have anything of significance to bring forward?
If I might,
Yes, dear.
In regards to the last month's meeting about the men and women's swim
Yeah.
league,
Yes.
how has that turned out?
Well, I brought the instructor in and made it very clear that if there are no men in the pool and the religious women want, are actively participating in the class, that's fine. But should a man appear that wants to go into the water, they're absolutely allowed and no one is allowed to stop them.
Folks,
And she has to police that and she cannot allow it.
Really?
this is gonna be my personal opinion.
Okay.
This is not a religious enclave.
I agree.
Next, Papa Legba and the sub-priestesses will be raising the dead. Once you open the door,
That's it.
you will have an Islamic worship center here. There'll be no closing the door, and I think it's a big mistake.
Right.
I agree.
Well,
We agree, we all agree.
You know, I have different residents who give these aerobics, these water aerobic classes, which happen to be one of our most popular classes. The fact that this person is energized and she does 2 a day, 7 days a week.
No.
Yep.
Not two.
Who is this?
Almost.
This isn't Arlene, is it?
No, I didn't wanna mention any names,
No.
but anyway,
Okay.
the other instructors are paid by WPRF, so I agreed that I would pay her for up to 3 classes a week.
There's Dolly.
And as a representative of WPRF, she must police the situation and properly, and that no one can say that men are not allowed, no one has that authority. She's the one that has to police it, and she has to bring it to me if she's got people that are non-compliant or arguing and creating an issue with it.
So shortly, hopefully, this issue will be resolved when the mikveh is built across the street, but I think it's a big mistake to roll over for this kind of religious base.
We all agree.
I've had this
Yes,
conversation.
Marcia.
Also, the instructor was not making sure that some of these women were not going in with stockings, because they were going in with all kinds of stockings as well.
We're trying to get a handle on that as well, that's not.
Well, it's not happening. They're going in with stockings.
All of this is trying to do that job.
The only thing, Marcia, I can say to that is if you are everywhere all day long, at every instance where a guard is, you cannot make that statement because we are
I was
trying
only
to get
there on
in.
Friday morning
Thank
when I
you.
saw women going
Okay.
in with stockings and socks and all
Yes.
kinds of things. And in
Okay.
fact, I asked the instructor, she's supposed to take care of that, see that this doesn't happen. I don't know which instructor it was.
The
I
issue
asked
is
her.
that stockings are made of nylon. Nylon is an approved bathing suit material. The issue is that they're wearing them in their shoes, they're sweating, and then going directly in the pool. That's the issue and why we're trying to break them of that habit.
Is there not a risk that this modesty, maybe not, getting caught in the filters, the drain
Of what?
Not today.
of the pool?
We don't have any direct suction anymore, so.
No.
That's-
Would like to know
Yeah,
that.
an issue of potential danger and lawsuits, and I brought this up years ago, it's been something since I've been here over 12 years, it's always bothered me. If you ride a bicycle and you go around the loop, when you come by the old administration building, the medical building, there's an area there that is no walkway. Bikes leave the walkway, go into the road, and then get back on the walkway.
Les, can't you make a small jog to the right go through the medical center parking lot and come out,
It's bicycles.
huh? Bicycles, yeah.
Bicycles.
That's what I do.
If
Yes,
you make it,
I take it on the sidewalk.
the way to continue to go is through private property,
It's narrow.
which has is a very narrow also.
Good point.
You have to stop and get off your bike, or you go through it with your bike.
This is gonna
Somebody's
be,
coming around the corner the other way, you're not gonna see them until you collide with them.
that's Yugo ground, it's something Yugo would, you're thinking of extending the sidewalk,
It's the only break in.
just off the road.
I spoke about 3-4 years ago. I
Yeah,
spoke to the people who manage that building, and they said they would have no problem giving up some of that space for a walkway.
I got you.
So that's possible, I have no other information on no cost of.
I know we went briefly to PZB, Planning Zoning Building. The big issue they raised, and I'm sure it's addressable, is that major swale right there. It's part of the drainage system of the Four Corners. We'll gladly look at it again. I'll have Cam look at it, and Dominic, it's really not for operations. That's Yugo ground there.
Right.
Okay,
Maybe the new owner would be interested.
yes, point well taken. The new owner seems very cooperative and,
Yeah, we
some
better,
cost offset. Good.
and we may have to figure out a way to get those people in and get them out.
Sidewalk helps.
Get them in, get them out.
Okay, this is a change in the roadway agreement.
No, I think let's say a slight modification. As long as we can get them out, then it would,
Obviously, we can't consider
we did offer him some encouragement.
But now hear this, you bring this to delegate assembly, all they're gonna hear is strangers are gonna be coming into our village and it's a security risk. That's what they're gonna hear. We have some technology, we're really off topic. We are looking at a technological approach, gonna cost $10,000-12,000, which he would pay for.
Yeah, he's
We're
already,
gonna put a sensor on all these patients' cars. I mean, you hear what I'm saying here?
I do.
And as they go out, it'll be picked up and we'll
David,
know
I was
that they
at
came on and they went off.
David, I was at that meeting, and bottom line is, I don't care. We've already lost doctors when we didn't have to lose them for exactly the same problem. It encourages people to use the
Buses.
drugstore and all the facilities. I mean, and plus, it helps us. I mean, who doesn't wanna have a doctor here,
I agree with you, but I'm very sad to hear what Ruth is saying, because I had heard a dozen doctors.
Oh, yeah.
And the facility is set up.
This was CSI, one Friday, they had no, Dr. Aponte came, who's one of the many. We learned that day, he's the only one up there now, the rest of them are off in their other places.
Yeah,
That may
but I
change.
think what will happen is, if they know that they can get their patients in and out,
It'll bring doctors.
it'll bring doctors in.
And if
Oh,
you've been
yeah.
inside what they set up to facilitate this, there's enough room for 12 doctors.
Right, the roadway agreement is for another venue,
No, you think?
yes.
Motion to
One
adjourn.
more comment. No,
Go ahead, Joyce.
no, I want to say, I thought it was a great idea that you listened and you put in all the buildings that did not send reps to
Yep.
the delegate assembly. I think it's disgusting that we have not been able to get quorums.
I agree with you.
I don't know what you could do to these people.
Nothing.
Even my
Okay.
own buildings was missing a vote.
Okay, again, we're way off topic here, we could go on all day.
All right.
But we are looking very seriously at making the quorum 117 year-round. No one can come up with the rationale for why we went to 141, including Ron Tennyson. So, I don't know why it went, I do not. Maybe Randall Borchardt would know, but he doesn't talk to us. Marcia?
What's the point of paying so much money for security, if we're gonna let people in for the doctors, if we have a fence down, what is the
Good
point? We're
question,
paying
good
a lot of
question.
money for security, what is the point?
This is exactly what I said, this is what you're going, and I'm not being critical.
Going to say.
This is exactly what you're gonna hear at Delegate Assembly.
I say let's go outside with pokers and sticks and man those gates.
Pitchforks.
All right.
Motion
I would
to
call
What have we got here, folks?
To adjourn, to adjourn.
All right, without objection, thank you all.
Get me out of here.
We are adjourned.
We need to talk to you. About the lady with the broken arm.
And they take it, we have it at Oxford. We put in a water fountain, water, like a.
Their property, so no worries.
They would come in. We set it up for
I am in Contract's not being recorded. Bottom line is,
That's why we didn't do anything.
exactly what we want. Condos, we're gonna build HOAs, we're gonna build apartments.
So it's gonna be mixed use there.
And there'll be no businesses in there, so they wanted to know what this road was to get over there. They said, that goes away.
A couple $1 million for them, per se, it's just to our benefit.
Just what we're looking for.
But we, we get no qualified. I own buildings, I rented them, leased them, and I always had to fix all that shit.
Right, right.